I want to bring in national correspondent Chip Reid at the White House and our Paula Reid, who is traveling with the president in Bridgewater, New Jersey. Chip, let me begin with you. We know the White House is defending the president's right to use Twitter, but is there any acknowledgement at all that perhaps that Twitter use might be muddling the president's message and distracting from the White House's agenda?
Well, there are some people in the White House who have long believed that that is the case and have really tried to get the president to cut back on his tweeting. This is a good example when they really want the message to be about what he's going to be talking about on number one, healthcare, and number two, this upcoming trip to Europe. That here everybody's talking about this crazy little video that somebody put out. But the president has made very clear he's going to continue to do it. He says that doing this kind of stuff he did during the election, and he still got elected. His base absolutely loves it, so the chances that he's going to stop doing this are about slim to none. Elaine?
All right, so Paula, let me ask you, let's talk about the president's preparations for the upcoming G-20 summit. We know that he's spoken to several world leaders. What can you tell us about those calls?
That's right. In addition to tweeting about the media, this has been a working weekend for the president. Yesterday, he spoke with the leaders of China and Japan, where he discussed the threat of North Korea and its ballistic missile program. And he also talked with Gulf state leaders. And in that conversation, he talked about the importance of stability in that region and also the importance of tamping down radical ideology and terrorism. Now today, the day started with the president tweeting that he would be talking with the leaders of Italy, Germany, and France. Now, France is not on the official schedule, but it is expected that when he talks with European leaders, they will discuss many of the issues facing both Europe and the United States, including terrorism, the migrant crisis. Especially Germany and Italy have borne a lot of the responsibility for that in Europe. Also possibly discuss trade and maybe even global warming.
Well, Paula, given the gravity of those issues that you just spelled out, how big a test will this be for President Trump?
It's a significant test, Elaine, and it's also an opportunity because here in the U.S., he's sort of bogged down in a lot of domestic issues and controversies with health care, with almost half the states rejecting his request for voter information. And then you also have this ongoing feud with the media. All of that in addition to the controversy surrounding the Russia investigation. But when you go abroad, you're arguably able to speak on issues that are even greater, significantly terrorism, North Korea, the stability in the Middle East. There's so many things that he could, if he wanted to, he could talk about that, switch the focus from sparring with cable news outlets to these much bigger issues.
Chip, everyone is awaiting that face-to-face meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin. What exactly do we know about that upcoming meeting, and do we have a sense of what they plan to discuss?
Well, we know at this point, at least, it's supposed to be kind of an informal pull-aside, and there are reports out there that they're going to be talking about obvious issues like the war on terrorism in Syria and Ukraine. But the fact is, the White House has been warning us, don't try to predict what they're going to say, because the president will decide at the time what he wants to talk about. And I think you add Vladimir Putin to that mix, and he certainly will do the same. And we have no indication that they're going to be talking about the alleged or actually Russian interference in the 2016 U.S. election, but certainly that's something we all hope they will talk about.
Yeah, we'll be watching that closely. Paula, I want to turn to health care. President Trump suggested on Friday that Republicans can split the health care reform effort by immediately repealing Obamacare, then replacing it at a later date. Is that gaining any traction?
Yes, on Friday, the president tweeted his support for that idea to repeal the law and then replace. This is an idea that was really originally pushed by Nebraska Senator Ben Sasse. He said, we can't come to an agreement, let's repeal the law and then spend August working on our replacement. But Republican leadership, particularly Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, has said no, they're going to try to repeal and replace at the same time. But that's certainly an issue that will face the president when he heads back to Washington tonight.
Chip Reid at the White House and Paula Reid in Bridgewater, New Jersey. Thanks to you both.